challenge I'd like you to think about for a second. A student in your class can sit and play their favourite game or scroll through social media for 3 hours without blinking. But 15 minutes into your lesson, they're staring at the ceiling. Their pen hasn't moved, you said their name twice. Are they just difficult, unmotivated, or is something else going on? Welcome back to Excell Connect. Today we're talking about focus and attention in the classroom, specifically why students struggle to sustain it, and the practical, evidence-informed strategies you can use to genuinely improve it. Not just for the students who find focus hardest, but for every single person in the room. So, let's get into it. But before we start, what's your go-to strategy for settling a class and getting them focused for the start of a lesson? The ability to sustain attention is pivotal to learning. When students can't focus, they can't absorb new information. They can't process it. They can't retain it. Everything else we do in the classroom, the planning, the differentiation, the quality of our explanations depends on this one fundamental skill. And we are asking students to develop it in a world that is working directly against them. Every device, every notification, every platform is specifically designed to hold attention. They're competing with content engineered by entire teams of professionals whose sole job is to be more engaging than whatever else is happening, including your lesson. That is not a reason to give up. It is a reason to be smarter about how we teach. The good news is that attention is not fixed. It is a skill we can actively develop. And the environment and routines we create in our classrooms have a direct impact on whether students can bring their best focus to our lessons. Let's start with the single biggest lever you have. 1. Reduce cognitive overload. One of the most powerful ways to improve focus is to reduce cognitive overload. Simply put, if a student has to spend mental energy working out what they're supposed to be doing, they have less mental energy left to actually do it. When they can't figure out what's expected, they become disillusioned, frustrated, and far less likely to engage. The fix is simpler than you might think. Keep instructions short, explicit, and clear. Break tasks into steps that can be given one at a time. For example, if you're asking students to write a persuasive paragraph, don't just say, write a persuasive paragraph on this topic. Instead say, write one sentence giving your opinion, then write 3 sentences that support your view. Then write a final sentence restating that opinion. You've now taken one vague, daunting task and turned it into 3 clear, achievable steps. The thinking required to begin is dramatically reduced. They can get started immediately. Use visual icons alongside instructions. A pencil means written response. A speech bubble means discussion. 2 figures means paired work. Students should not have to decode your instructions. They should be able to get straight to the learning. And use models. Show students what a good finished product looks like. A worked maths example on the board. A model paragraph on the projector. When students can see where they're headed, they can focus on the journey rather than worrying about the destination. What is your best way to break down a complex task so pupils can get started straight away? Share your approach. Number 2, teach in short, focused blocks. It is a well-established fact that we learn best in short bursts. Research suggests that focused attention on an intense task naturally starts to drift at around 10 to 15 minutes for most people. For younger students, and especially those with attention difficulties, that window can be even shorter. Working with this rather than against it transforms your lessons. Why not divide your lesson into timed blocks and vary the activity in each one? Start with a teacher-led input of 10 to 15 minutes. Follow it with a paired group work, then move to independent application. Use a visible timer so students know how long they're working on each part. That structure removes uncertainty. It helps students commit to a task and gives their brain the variety it needs to stay engaged throughout that lesson. The change in activity is not a distraction. It's a reset. It's how you keep the whole room with you for the full duration of a lesson. It's natural that attention drifts. We are working with how the brain actually works, not fighting it. Number 3, build movement in. This one is backed by strong evidence and is consistently underused. Movement boosts focus, physically. It increases the flow of oxygen to the brain, it resets attention, and it gives students, particularly those who find sustained stillness genuinely difficult, a way to re-engage. You do not need a full physical activity session. Micro-movement activities embedded in your lessons are enough. All stand, sit if you agree, stand if you disagree. Send people to different parts of the room to complete different tasks. Allow flexible seating where it's appropriate. Wobble cushions, chair bands, or simply the option to stand while writing. Some students generally focus better on their feet. And here is a useful reframe. If a student is moving in your lesson and still engaged with the work, does the movement actually matter? It doesn't. What matters is the engagement. Focus on that, not the posture. What brain break or movement activities work well in your classroom? Help the NQTs, ECTs in the comments with yours. Number 4, establish a clear and consistent routine. Predictability and routine are two of the most powerful tools you have for supporting focus. When students know how your lesson starts, how it flows, and how it ends, they don't have to spend mental energy working any of that out. That cognitive bandwidth is freed up for learning. Start every lesson the same way. A 5-minute retrieval task, a warm-up question, something that clearly signals we're beginning now and here's what you're doing. Have a consistent signal for attention. Have a visible lesson outline so students know what is coming. These things may feel really small, but they create the sense of safety and structure that allows genuine focus to happen. And there is a direct link here to the emotional regulation. When students feel uncertain about what is expected of them, that uncertainty generates stress, and a stressed brain cannot focus. Routine removes the uncertainty. It makes your classroom feel safe. In a safe environment, students can learn. Number 5, support emotional regulation. Speaking of emotional regulation, this is one of the most undervalued aspects of supporting focus, and it applies to every student in your room. Pupils who feel safe, seen, and valued are demonstrably more attentive. It can be as simple as greeting them at the door, asking about their weekend, or noticing when they seem off and quietly acknowledging it. That 30 seconds check-in can completely change how available a student is to learn. Teach practical calming strategies and build them into your lesson. A 30-second breathing exercise. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Takes almost no lesson time and genuinely resets a dysregulated nervous system. Every student in the room benefits from this. If your classroom allows it, create a calm corner where students can take a 2-minute reset without disrupting the lesson. Give students a discreet way to signal to you that they're overwhelmed, an object on the desk, an emotions keyring, so they can manage their state without drawing any attention to themselves. This matters because a student who spends the lesson worrying about whether they'll be able to cope if they feel overwhelmed cannot also focus on your lesson. Remove that worry and you remove the barrier. When you support emotional regulation, you directly support attention. The two are inseparable. Number 6, use variety and novelty. The brain is wired to pay attention to what is new. If every lesson follows the same format, teacher talks, students write, repeat, attention will naturally drift. Variety is not a luxury, it is a neurological need. Think about how you can vary the way you present information and the ways you can invite students to respond. Can they demonstrate their understanding through a mind map, a newspaper front page, a short quiz, a discussion, a ranking task? Give them the opportunity to respond in a variety of ways. Choice actually boosts motivation and motivated students absorb and retain information far more effectively. After a sustained writing block, flip to a quiz. After a discussion, switch to individual silent work. The change in format in itself is engaging. It signals to the brain that something different is happening, and that is enough to draw wandering attention back in. What's the most engaging activity format you've used to re-energise a class mid-lesson? Number 7, teach attention as a skill. This might be the section that most changes how you think about your role. We would not expect students to be able to read without teaching them to read, so why do we assume they already know how to manage their own attention? We can actively teach this skill, and in doing so, we are giving students something that goes far beyond your classroom. Use metacognitive prompts. What helps you focus best? When did you lose focus just now? And what did you do to get it back? Set focus goals for students at the start of an activity. I'm going to work on this for 10 minutes, and if I notice my attention drifting, I'll take a breath and refocus on the next step. Help them name what they need when their concentration fades. A movement break, a change of task, a moment of quiet. When they can identify the problem and apply a strategy, they become much more capable, independent learners. You are giving them a transferable skill that will serve them for the rest of their lives. Number 8, create the right environment. Finally, the physical environment matters more than we sometimes acknowledge. Keep displays purposeful rather than overwhelming. A visually cluttered room actively pulls attention away from learning. Keep noise levels intentional. Background noise is a significant barrier for some students, particularly those with sensory sensitivities. Allow ear defenders for students who need them without hesitation. This is not an unusual accommodation. It's a recognition that different brains need different conditions to do their best work. A calm environment supports a calm mind, and a calm mind can focus with clarity. So, let's bring it all together. Improving focus and attention in your classroom does not require a complete overhaul. It requires consistent, deliberate choices, and over time, those choices accumulate into a classroom culture where deep engagement is the norm. Reduce cognitive load with step-by-step instructions, teaching short, focused blocks with timed learning. Build movement in regularly. Maintain clear, predictable routines. Support emotional regulation through connection and calming strategies. Use variety and novelty to keep the brain engaged. Teach attention explicitly as a metacognitive skill. Minimise distraction in the environment. Embed these approaches into your daily practice and you'll give every student in your room, including those who find focus hard, a genuine chance to engage deeply, stay focused and thrive in their learning. And in doing so, you will address the needs of the SEND pupils in your class at the same time. A classroom that works for your most challenged learners works best for everyone. So that is it for today's Excell Connect. Which of these 8 strategies are you going to introduce first? Drop it in the comments and let us know how it goes. If this has been useful, please give us a like, share it with a colleague and subscribe so you don't miss our next video. We'll see you then.